Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with my first Coliseum home video release review since WWE uploaded all of these classic tapes onto the WWE Network. I honestly came home today and was ecstatic. I didn't watch any of the ESPN shows. I didn't watch PTI. I didn't watch Around the Horn. I went straight to the WWE Network because I wanted to check out Smack 'em Whack 'em. This was a 1993 release of Coliseum on video on VHS. I used to have this as a kid, and I sold my copy to, I believe, Dimple Records, a place that you can trade in DVDs and CDs and all that other jazz. And one day I just decided I was going to get out of the VHS game and completely move all of my stuff into DVD. And I didn't really think that there was a market for wrestling tapes, and for somebody that was going to sell off their VHS tapes, I took mine, I think, at the right time. Now I think if you went in there with any tape, they're going to give you probably a dime to a quarter per tape, because I think my Dimple Records does have a selection of VHSs that sell for about $1, no matter what they are, and there's no wrestling in there. Somebody smartly has picked these up and found a way to move them on the secondhand market if they find the right people to do it. But this is an awesome tape. It features 6 matches, 3 of them with a profile on Bret the Hitman Hart, who is at this time the WWF champion. He is being interviewed by Gorilla Monsoon when they play a trio of his matches that show how good of a competitor he is and how good of a champion he is. They're even showing off that after winning the championship from Ric Flair, he would go on and defend the championship against Kamala only 2 days later. They don't mention that it's only a house show, and probably not the main event of an A-Town or anything like that. But they are showing that he will go out there and defend the champion just about any time. It's because that's the way they really portrayed Bret as that champion back there in 1993. They were moving into a new era. I can remember him having great matches against, Virgil, the 1, 2, 3 Kid. Just about any time he got into the ring, and he would defend the championship on pay-per-view. He'd defend it on Monday Night Raw, on Wrestling Challenge. I'm sure that he had matches on Primetime before having matches. I guess I already said Monday Night Raw, but Monday Night Raw wasn't around yet. It wouldn't come around until January of 93, so maybe it was around. I guess I'm having trouble picking that era. On these tapes, there's always some sort of backdrop which draws everything together. This tape is pretty much hosted by Lord Alfred Hayes, where he is in a crummy, broken, rundown house with the Bushwhackers, who are performing home improvement on the house, where basically they are cutting a window into a wall. They are installing a television. They are running wires. And everything they do always backfires. And Lord Alfred Hayes finds himself the Tim Allen of the WWF, getting electrocuted, getting hit with a hammer. Basically, by the end of this tape, Lord Alfred Hayes is laid out. He ends up in a lazy chair. The Bushwhackers are setting up a table so they can plug in a television and they can watch some of his favorite Coliseum home videos. I'll be honest, it made me chuckle a little bit, but it wasn't that funny. They're putting over Yokozuna. Yokozuna this year would, of course, win the Royal Rumble to go on to be the main event against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9. So they're trying to portray him as how big of a competitor he is and how big of a superstar. Although this tape does not feature any Yokozuna matches, they show him going to a sushi buffet where he eats a sushi dinner for 3 before ordering a steak dinner for 20 at like a Benihana's cook-off, where Yokozuna is just polishing off sushi one by one. Then he is just, pounding down these ribeye steaks with shrimp as Mr. Fuji keeps ordering the chef for more. Gotta have more. Basically just overstuffing, everybody at the table, and Yokozuna just keeps going back for more and more and more. The matches portrayed on Smack 'em Whack 'em, although the 3 matches that are not Bret Hart matches are not anything that's going to get you fired up if you were to order an in-your-house pay-per-view. But that's the style of match that you would see in your house. It's a little bit bigger than a Monday Night Raw match, but not big enough to like make you like want to order the show. Your opening match is going to be Crush going up against the Berzerker. You've got the Repo Man against Earthquake. And the last match on the tape was a weird one. Razor Ramon versus The Undertaker. The 3 Bret Hart matches on there are Bret the Hitman Hart versus Shawn Micheals in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. We've got Bret the Hitman Hart defending the WWF Championship against Kamala. And then lastly, we have the Ric Flair match where he wins the WWF Championship against Ric Flair. These matches, they're all good. They're just not great. But I mean, like, if this is the time you grew up and you loved watching wrestling and you couldn't get enough of every show that was on TV, you would watch All-American Wrestling, and then you would watch Wrestling Challenge, and even though you knew that some of those matches were the same matches, you would still watch them, thinking that some of those jobber matches would have a different outcome along the way. That opening match that featured the Berzerker going up against Crush, both of those guys were very interesting wrestlers. I think Crush, honestly, would be later known as Brian Adams, a member of the NWO. He was a member of Demolition. Crush, I could see Vince McMahon thinking that this guy was going to be the real deal. That, he would get a major push. I can't think of, honestly, the most hype he got other than when he turned heel and was no longer portraying the Kona Crush character, but now was like the Japanese Crush, basically being managed by Mr. Fuji, and he would wrestle in a last man standing match against Macho Man at WrestleMania 10. After that, I really can't think of anything Crush did other than, joining the NWO and being the leader of the Disciples of Apocalypse, DOA, a split off of the Nation of Domination. We are the Nation. Everybody remember when Jem joined the Nation? That was a good video. Basically Kona Crush was able to lock the Berzerker in with that Kona Crush lock where he just puts the lock on the guy's head. And the Berzerker didn't tap out, but the referee called for the match because he knew that basically the Berzerker wasn't going to be getting up from that one. Berzerker, interesting character. I guess he was a Viking. He threw guys over the top rope in all of his jobber matches for count-out victories. And that's about the only way I ever saw him win a match. I always thought that he was the guy that could win the Royal Rumble, but never had the chance when he got in there. He just recently got a Jax. He had a Jax figure, and now he's got a Mattel re-release. I guess he's an interesting character that people like to look at him. So we'll see. Then from that next match, we had the Repo Man against Earthquake. Nothing really big in that match. I honestly don't even remember who won that match. So this is probably going to be a very horrible review. But then again, it was not that good of a match. From there we go to the first ever Intercontinental ladder match in the WWF, where Bret Hart brought this from Calgary Stampede Wrestling. This match, compared to the ladder matches and the Money in the Bank matches, the tag team ladder matches that we have of today, is not going to stand up. There's no real high spots. There's no real big bumps in this. But we see Shawn and Bret working together. Something that, when you think of that rivalry, you don't really think of that because of the prima donnas that these guys would become in 95, 96 before Bret would leave in 1997. But basically, Bret wins this match. Of course, Bret would go on to lose the title at SummerSlam. And then we would have Shawn win the title. From there, Bret would face Shawn again at the Survivor Series in the main event when he was Intercontinental Champion against WWF Champion. All of those being good matches, but the ladder match will always be semi-remembered as the first ever ladder match in WWF because of the fact that it was only shown on Coliseum home video. Everybody always thinks of Shawn versus Razor at WrestleMania 10 as being the first one. From there we go to them talking about Bret winning the WWF title. And then him being such a competitor that he would defend the championship against Kamala only 2 days later. Kamala has his managers Kimchi and Harvey Wippleman here. Nothing really big in this match other than, basically Kimchi and Harvey Wippleman holding down Bret at the end of this match, and basically as Kamala went running off the ropes for a big splash with that big moon belly that the guy has, Bret was able to get out of the way, and Harvey Wippleman took the big splash, where then Bret would finally kick Harvey Wippleman and remove him from the ring after Bret was able to get the win over Kamala. Kamala was always an interesting character, but I only know of him from wrestling in WWF. I've never gone back and watched his much famous Memphis run, but I've heard it's really, really good stuff. So from there we go to Bret winning the championship from Ric Flair. This was sort of a hidden match that I think has been released on DVD, more than likely on the Bret the Hitman Hart Best There Is, Best There Was, Best There Ever Will Be DVD. But as a wrestling fan back in the day, there was a few matches that were never shown on television, of the title changing hands, and this was one of them. You had to go out and buy this tape. There's no real reason that this match was bad that shouldn't be shown on there. I can't think of anything ever really standing out. But Bret makes Ric Flair tap out to the sharpshooter. He's crowned the new champion. It happens in Saskatchewan. I thought it was pretty cool because even though, Bret Hart is the hometown guy, I don't think anybody in that arena really thought that Bret Hart was beating Ric Flair for the championship on that, television taping where they were shooting these matches for the Coliseum on video. More than likely, this match was supposed to be shown on Primetime Wrestling, which was the Monday Night Raw of that time. But the word is that Vince never really liked the match, and it ended up never being aired. From there, we just go to a random Undertaker versus Razor Ramon match. This is an interesting time because Razor would be the #1 contender to go after Bret Hart's WWF Championship at the Royal Rumble, and the Undertaker is a guy that honestly never loses. So who is going to be the one to take this? This match is your normal sort of babyface versus heel match. Both guys, Razor's able to cheat. He actually at one time steals the urn from Paul Bear and actually hits the Undertaker and knocks him out. But once Undertaker is able to sit up from the urn shot, Razor just says, that's it. I'm done, and he just hijacks it, and he walks out of there. There's a count-out victory that Undertaker receives, but nothing really entertaining, that much from the match, other than just the buzz of thinking that what is going to happen here. I think that it was weird that they would end the tape on sort of this low note of not really having a clean finish. But then against the 90s, and it is what it is, and you're lucky enough to just see Undertaker versus Razor get in there. This is a good tape. I honestly think that I remembered some stuff from this tape as I watched it from a kid. There's more than likely better tapes that are up there on the WWE Network, but I highly recommend this as one of the ones that you check out. I know that we're still waiting for the best of Hulkamanias, something that year after year I've made videos about, wondering why these haven't been released as WWE DVDs on a set where you could put like 2 of the tapes on one DVD, make a 3-disc set. All you have to do is really prepare a box because all of the work's all done. But I'm sure that we're going to get like SummerSlam's greatest hits as well as like the best of WrestleMania. So there's a lot more out there. There's lots of tapes. I'm sure that these are going to upload the more people watch them, sort of like how Nitro was rolled out and Monday Night Raw was rolled out. They give us, a little bit at a time, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, all of them are up there. So peace out. I hope everybody enjoys this. Go out there and check out your WWE Network. These are under the wrestling tape collection or something like that. Good stuff. Peace out, everybody.